All right, we have the weekly blog post, which is going to tell us what to hoard. And there's some key things that we're going to talk about in hoarding and getting ready for next week's events. And then we're also going to take a look at the Super Skrull kit, which has a new mechanic called Exposed. And we're also going to go over the various events for the week. Before we get into that, sad day. Looks like Marvel Future Revolution is coming to an end. It looks like they're going to close on their second year. The game went live on August 21st, 2021, and it will be closing in August 25th of 2023. So, wow, that's kind of sad, right? But anyways, let's get into the blog post. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. June 4th, there's an Orb Blitz, and then June 5th, there's a Sister Grimm Blitz to earn Nico shards. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to save the Blitz credits on these two or not, because on the 6th, Battle of the Bark's Web is earn Blitz credits. So I know for sure I want to save them on June 5th. But when I find out more details on how far out you can save this, I will definitely put it in a video. But just keep in mind that there might be an opportunity here to fuel into this event that is on June 6th. On June 6th, there's also a Riff Rafts event, open intergalactic orbs and open gold orbs. So that'll be a part of it. And there's going to be a way of earning intergalactic orbs, which is going to be the Cosmo event, and it's going to use the intergalactic trait. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Strike Pass for 35, it features Gwenpool, and then on the 8th, we will be getting Star-Lord Annihilations offers, and we'll be able to get red stars and all that good stuff. And then on the 9th is going to be Payday. Let's talk about Dark Dimension 6. And I'm not really sure if this is going to play out like this and need at least 20 characters. And I just want to say this. The thing I love the most about Dark Dimension 456 is that there's always this discussion about taking in inexpensive characters that don't require a lot of gear to get through it quickly, or do you focus on quality, or do you do a hybrid? You know, you do some characters like that are quality so you can get through the nodes, and then you go cheap. Like, I mean, think about all those times where we were like debating whether or not we would take in like Sabretooth or Super Trooper just because inexpensive. And the reality is it's unknown, absolutely unknown. It's one of my favorite things about Dark Dimension is discovering this, but it's important to learn from the people that go through it first, right? So here's the thing. The first two missions have no trait restrictions. Missions 3 through 5 is global. Now, the interesting thing about global says legendary excluded. Apocalypse is not a legendary. So I'm thinking that Apocalypse would be good here in global. We got Cosmic, we have City, and then this is very specific. Legendary non-horseman, which is a very specific list right here, right? Non-legendary horseman. Omega Red is probably exceptional. Nick Fury is probably exceptional. We'll have to see how Nova plays out. But the question is then going to be, what of these 5 characters are going to be able to get through the last 2 nodes, which do not have the non-horseman restriction, and it says legendary and or Apocalypse. So I think running Apocalypse here in global would make sense, because then you'll be able to sub out at least the 4th worst horseman. And maybe you'll be able to get through it with the 20 characters. There's going to be some rewards for the person that gets through it first. But what this means to the community is the winner get to choose 2 characters to allow players to individually decide which one of them can receive 100 character shards and a 5 red promotion for. There will be a list for that. And then there's also going to be a community poll for 2 blitzes that'll be run based on the characters, non-legendary, non-apocalypse, that the Dark Dimension 6 winner used to complete the nodes. That's fantastic. Now, the rewards for going through it once is going to be a baby Super Skrull. So that's going to be a 2 red, 5 yellow. And then the second run is going to be a 7 yellow, 4 red. Now, this is very, very interesting. Speed is 124. However, he has a very interesting passive mechanic where basically once per turn, if a negative effect is applied to allies or your opponents gain a positive effect, he gets 10% turn meter. So I think that his effective speed bar is going to be quite a bit better than 124. And then there also is going to be adding a new mechanic called Exposed, which goes off on his special, which applies to one target. And then almost all of the kit is designed to go in with his allies, where he gets a bonus if he has 2 heroes, and he has a bonus if he has 2 villains. So it's going to be logical to run a team of 2 allies and 2 heroes. So, you could run, for villains, you could run like Apocalypse and Dormammu. And then for allies, you could run like Rogue and Red Hulk, or you could run Shuri Icarus, because there's going to be interesting concept. I actually very much like that about Super Skrull's kit. So firstly, first time this character falls under 50% health, clear all negative effects from this character, heal self for 50% of this character's max health, and gain stealth. And the reason why this stealth is important is while this character has stealth, allies gain 20% damage reduction, and one of his abilities also gives him stealth. So that's going to be a thing. On stun, clear stun and apply stun to the attacker. So there's a lot of these important characters. I can't put stun on them. That is one of them. One of the features there of Super Skrull. When an enemy gains a positive effect, or when this character or an ally gains a negative effect, heal self for 5% of this character's max health and fill this character's speed bar by 10%. And my understanding is that this can proc once per turn. Fantastic. Lower the armor for all enemies by 25%. Gain 50% max health. Allies gain 25% health. And then these are the boosts that I was talking about. And most of his abilities have boosts like this, where if you go in the match with 2 allies and 2 of them are heroes and 2 of them villains, you're going to get the optimal results from Super Skrull. So if you go in damage and focus at 10% for each hero ally, so this will max out at 50%. And then we'll get to the rest of the kit, which wants you to take 2 and 2, and then 10% armor resistance for 10% for each villain ally, up to a maximum of 50%. Now, this is not entirely clear to me if this exposed mechanic, if this is the definition of exposed. Is it a part of his passive? Does it remain after he's dead? I don't really know, but enemies with exposed cannot gain safeguard, deflect, or evade. This does not prevent prolonging the duration of effects already on the target. And then this is the kicker, is when an enemy with exposed is attacked, this character attacks all enemies for 5% of this character's max health and bury this character for 5% of this character's max health. So basically, after Super Skrull applies the exposed mechanic by doing his special, this creates a situation where it's almost like an assist, but it's like an AoE assist that's coming from Super Skrull. It's kind of interesting. I think it's kind of fun. So the special is going to go off first, which is a 3/3 attack primary target for damage, apply exposed. And then this is where that 2 and 2 that I was talking about earlier. If this character spawned with 2 or more hero allies, apply ability block for 2 turns to the primary target. Fine. Attack primary adjacent targets for 400% damage and reduce speed bar by 20% each target. Now, that is a big deal. I mean, that kind of reminds me a little bit of like Red Hulk special, but anytime you can reduce turn meter in a turn-based game, it's going to be an alpha stat. From what we've learned so far with Kang is like speed. Turn meter manipulation is a big deal in Marvel Strike Force. It gets better. If this character spawn as 2 or more villain allies, reduce speed bar for all targets by additional 40%. That's a big deal. So if you go in with 2 villains, not only are the primary adjacent targets reduced by 20%, but then the rest of the team gets knocked down by 40%. Amazing. Clear stealth on all enemies. Gain the following positive effects: 2 defense up, 2 offense up, 3 deflect, immunity for 2 turns, gain stealth. And the reason why that stealth is important, because while this character has stealth, allies gain 20% damage reduction. All right. His attack gains extra focus and cannot be blocked, dodged, or counterattacked. Amazing. Okay. I'm going to do his basic next because he can give safeguard to himself with his basic, which is crazy. So typically the special is probably going to go off first, and then the next turn is going to be followed up with the basic. If the primary target has exposed, clear all barrier on the primary target, attack primary target for damage, and chain to 3 adjacent targets. Flip 3 positive effects into negative effects on each target. Gain defense up for 2 turns, and safeguard for 2 turns. Barrier self for 10% of this character's max health. This character spawned with at least 2 or more villain allies. This attack ignores defense up. If you spawn with 2 or more hero allies, apply disrupted to each target. This attack can chain to stealth targets. Counterattack breaks this chain. This attack gains 200% extra focus on unavoidable. Now, I was very interested in being able to apply safeguard with a basic attack. That I'm glad that they have provided the ISO 8 counter assist or the safety attack. So I don't know if Striker's gonna be obvious on this. We'll have to find out when we play him. When 6 months to a year from now, whenever that's gonna happen, it's gonna be forever, right? If the primary target has exposed, clear all barrier primary target, attack primary target for piercing, flip 3 positive effects and negative effects. Primary target, barrier self for 10% of the character's max health. Character spawn and has 2 more villain allies, attack ignores defense up. And if the attack spawn with 2 more hero allies, apply disrupted, attack gains 200% extra focus. So it's not super obvious whether or not Striker would be appropriate here or not. I actually do not know. Let's do his ultimate. Apply trauma for 2 turns to primary target. Fantastic. Flip defense up on all enemies. Attack all enemies, so it's AoE. Apply heal block for 3 turns and offense down for 2 turns. And then again, if you go in with 2 villains, this attack deals additional piercing. And if you go in with heroes, apply trauma for 2 turns to all enemies, which is kind of a big deal. Trauma is an amazing mechanic. Bear yourself and all allies for 30% of the character's max health. This attack gains extra focus, unavoidable, cannot be blocked or counterattacked. Seems pretty amazing. Cosmo Event. And don't know all the details of this event, but this looks like to me to be like one of the old traditional event campaign that we all enjoyed in the past, which is going to use the intergalactic tag, which is right here. So there's some characters in there that you may have upgraded. I think a lot of people have been upgrading She-Hulk and Abomination because they're a Horseman team. And then it looks like it is going to run shorter. It's going to go from it. Normally these have been in the past 14 days. This one's going to be 7 days. And this is where you're going to get first time rewards, gold and gear node rewards, and related intergalactic orb. They all have been increased. This helps to streamline the experience, provide a more rewarding and focused daily experience. Now, these intergalactic orgs are going to feed into this rough rifts, where you fetch and tear open intergalactic orbs and gold orbs. So that's another thing to hoard. So basically, right now, you want to save Blitz milestones. And I'll have more details on that when I have more information, but for sure the one on Monday, maybe the one even on Sunday, but the one for today doesn't matter. And then you want to save gold orbs. And we've known about this from the data mine. So save your gold orbs. And then probably like a week or so from now, we'll have one for opening training materials. It seems like you just kind of have to hoard this stuff. The event campaign feeds into this rough rifts, intergalactic event orbs and gold orbs. And this is basically a gold orb auction. There's going to be a leaderboard, which will award a lot of T2 level 5 ions as expected. And then there's going to be 5, 6, 7 red star on Cosmo. Another event that is going to be running is the Korg Intergalactic Tour events, which is going to be Battle and Alliance War. It looks pretty straightforward. And then let's see what we got. The web event for the Blitz credits. So this is the earn Blitz credits. So when you claim a Blitz credit, that is when it's earned. And that's what we were talking about, saving the Blitz milestones. But that'll be on June 6th at 2 o'clock. So keep that in mind. Star-Lord is coming to the game, and offers for him will be available on June 8th. Then we're going to have a Quick Rumble Blitz featuring Dark Hunters. Gwenpool is going to be in the Strike Pass. Firestar is going to be going to the Orbs. Gwenpool will be in the Elite Store, so you can get your red stars. And that about does it. And I just got to give a shout out to somebody on Twitter. Today I saw Commander Whip, Community Manager Whip. Today I saw Commander Whip, wail harder you peasants, buying marble countertops he kept complaining that the slabs weren't veiny enough for some reason. And he kept yelling, "Do I look like Floyd Mayweather to you?" What does that even mean? Anyways, I went to see if I could intervene somehow, and he kept dismissing me as a renter. Eventually, he told me to open my wallet and prove I had money. When I did, he reached in and pulled out all of my money and threw the money on the floor as well, and then took off his shoes. He threw them at the employee, got a running start, and slid on the piles of money all the way out the front door. He was yelling, "Get off my dick," as he coasted by. And just when I thought he was gone, I felt something hit me in the back. Apparently used his eye patch as a slingshot before he disappeared. Man, this guy is kind of a dick. Holy moly. I don't even know anymore. Bye for now.